Bulbasaur is the only unevolved dual-type starter Pokémon. Ivysaur is the only Generation I Pokémon whose name begins with the letter I. Venusaur is a combination of the words Venus, which refers to the Venus flytrap plant, and the Greek word saur, meaning lizard. Charmander is the tallest fire-type starter Pokémon. Charmeleon is capable of learning Leer in Generation 1. Charizard was voted the favorite Pokémon by official Nintendo magazine readers in February 2012. Squirtle is the first water-type Pokémon in National Pokédex. Wartortle gets its name from a combination of war, warrior, tortoise, and turtle. Blastoise has the highest base special defense of all fully evolved starter Pokémon. Caterpie was the first Pokémon to be seen evolving in the anime. Metapod is known as a cocoon Pokémon. Butterfree has been trained by trainers Ash, Drew, Richie, and Soledad. Weedle evolves at level 7, the lowest level required for any Pokémon to evolve by leveling up. Kakuna has been shown evolving more than any other Pokémon in the anime. Beedrill was originally going to be spelled with only one L. Pidgey is the only Pokémon with a base stat total of 251. Pidgeotto was caught by Ash in Ash Catches a Pokémon. Since then, it has been one of Ash's main Pokémon. Pidgeot is the only Pokémon with a base stat total of 469. Rattata is the first pure normal type in the National Pokédex order. Raticate was classified as a rat Pokémon in Pokémon Red and Blue. However, from Generation 3 onward, it is classified as a mouse. Spearow is a combination of spear and sparrow or arrow. Fearow weighs 38 kilograms. Ekans spells snake backward, which is also Ekans species. Arbok is the last Pokémon to be featured on the Kanto Pokerap. Pikachu is voiced by Ikue Aotani. Raichu can be male or female. The difference in appearance is the female has a smaller, blunted lightning bolt at the end of its tail. Sandshrew is based on an animal called the pangolin. It's a mammal that curls up into a ball, has sharp claws, and lives in desert regions. Sandslash evolves from Sandshrew from level 22. Nidoran can lay eggs that have a chance of hatching into a Nidoran. Nidorina are common in the Kanto region, but rare in Sinnoh. Nidoqueen evolves from Nidorina when exposed to a Moonstone. Nidoran made its first appearance in the anime in Pokemon Fashion Flash. Nidorino appeared in the very first episode, battling a Gengar in a battle Ash was watching on TV. Nidoking, along with Nidoqueen, are the only two Pokemon with a poison, ground type combination. Clefairy was originally going to be the mascot of Pokemon instead of Pikachu. Clefable is based on a fairy and a pixie. Vulpix was originally going to be called Foxfire. Ninetales was misspelled as Ninetales in the Pokemon trading card game for the Game Boy Color. Jigglypuff is the only character to keep its original voice track through all three Super Smash Bros. Games. Wigglytuff is 1M tall, which is 303. Zubat does not have eyes. Golbat is the first Pokemon in the National Pokédex to gain a new evolution in a later generation. Oddish has a scientific name, which is Odium wanderus. It was first shown in the Fire Red Pokédex entry. Gloom is the only Pokemon to evolve into two different Pokemon with two different stones, other than Eevee. Vileplume species is Flower Pokemon. Paris and its evolved form are the only Pokemon to have a 5x weakness due to the ability Dry Skin. Parasect has used sleep powder in the anime. However, it cannot learn this in the games. Venonat has red eyes and nose. However, the shiny Venonat's eyes and nose are blue. Venomoth shares the same species name as Dustox. They are both known as poison moth Pokemon. Diglett has been shown to have no feet, however, it is mentioned as being one of the 7 mysteries of Pokemon. Dugtrio is the fastest ground-type Pokemon. Meowth is the first Pokemon in the anime to talk. Persian's level-up moves are all normal-type or dark-type, except the move Power Gem. Psyduck is the only Pokemon to learn Psychic by breeding. Golduck is one of the few Pokemon that is obtainable in every game, including expansion games and remakes. Mankey is the first fighting-type Pokemon in National Pokédex order. Primates like to eat bananas. Growlithe is a puppy Pokemon. The only other Pokemon that has this species name is Lillipup. Arcanine is said to be capable of running over 6,200 miles in a single day and night. Poliwag has the same cry as Ditto in the games. Poliwhirl is the first Pokemon in National Pokédex order to evolve by trading while holding an item. Poliwrath is a combination of the word Poliwag, which is a tadpole, and Wrath, meaning anger. Abra has the highest special attack of all unevolved Pokemon. Kadabra is based on a magician and also a spoonbender. Alakazams have a shorter mustache if they are female. Machop can learn Strength, which is the only HM move it can learn. Machoke weighs 70.5 kilograms. Machamp is one of the 4 Pokemon, having a total of 4 arms. Bellsprout eats insects and takes in nutrients from the soil. Weepinbell first appeared in the anime in the School of Hard Knocks. Victreebel and its pre-evolutions are based on carnivorous pitcher plants. Tentacool is weak against ground, electric, and psychic type moves. Tentacruel is said to have 80 tentacles. However, only about 10 are often seen. Geodude are often shown to be floating. However, they cannot have the levitate ability and they can't learn Magnet Rise. Graveler's diet mainly consists of moss-covered rocks. Golem are able to withdraw their head, arms, and legs into their shell and roll at high speeds. Ponyta, in shiny form, has blue flames. Rapidash has no flames for a split second in the first movie. Slowpoke was originally going to be called Slowmo. Slowbro and Slowking are the only Pokemon that can de-evolve in the anime. Magnemite is the first Steel-type Pokemon in National Pokédex order. Magneton has been used by more rival characters than any other Pokemon. Farfetch'd is the only non-glitch Pokemon with an apostrophe in its name. Doduo has brown necks if they are female, and males have black necks. Dodrio is based on the dodo, a flightless bird. However, it is able to learn Fly. Seal is the only non-ice type Pokemon to have the Ice Body ability. Dugong is the first ice Pokemon in the National Pokédex order. Grimer is one of 2 Pokemon who don't change weight during evolution. The other is Ghastly. Muck is tied with Mew for the shortest English name out of all Pokemon. Shelder learns Hydro Pump at level 61. Cloyster is the only ice-type Pokemon in the purple color group. Ghastly and its evolution Haunter are the lightest Pokemon in existence. Haunter has a slightly different cry starting in Generation 3. Gengar is theorized to be a shadow of a Clefable. Onix is the longest Pokemon that can hatch from an egg. Drowsy is based on the Japanese myth of the Baku, creatures who eat bad dreams of sleeping people. Hypno in shiny form is purple, pink in color. Krabby can grow back its pincers in a short amount of time if they are lost during battle. Kingler mainly eats Shelder for their diet. Voltorb has the lowest attack stat of all electric-type Pokemon. Electrode is based on a living Pokeball and is often mistaken for one. Execute can be found in the Dream World in Pleasant Forest. Exeggutor and its pre-evolved form are the only known Pokemon that learn Barrage. Cubone is only 40 centimeters in height and weighs 6.5 kilograms. Marowak sometimes is found holding a thick club. However, there's only a 5% chance since Generation 3. Hitmonlee is a combination of Hit, Monster, and Lee, which references Bruce Lee. Hitmonchan is based on Jackie Chan. Lickitung name was misspelled Lickitung in the Kanto Poker app. Coughing was originally known as Ni, representing New York City's polluted air. Weezing has the highest defense out of all poison-type Pokemon. Rhyhorn has the exact same cry as Charizard in the games. Raiden was the first Pokemon ever created. Chansey is a female-only species with no male counterpart. Tangela is the first pure grass-type Pokemon in the National Pokédex order, and also the only pure grass type in Generation 1. Kangaskhan are born with a baby already in their pouch. The baby Kangaskhan is not a separate Pokemon. Horsey cannot learn any physical attacks without TMs. Seadras are capable of swimming backward while facing forward. Goldeen was one of 3 original Pokemon Misty acquired. Seeking and its pre-evolved form are the only Pokemon that can learn Waterfall through leveling up. Staryu's Japanese name is Hitodamen, which roughly translates to Starfish Man. Starmie is a genderless species. Mr. Mime are not all male. It is just as common to see a female. Scyther hates the color red, according to the anime episode Showdown in Dark City. Jinx is a female-only species based on a bulky human woman. Electabuzz evolves into Electivire when traded, holding an Electorizer. Magmar first appeared under the ownership of Blaine. Pinsir is currently the only non-fighting type Pokemon to learn Vital Throw. Tauros is based on the Zodiac Taurus, the bull. Magikarp, living for many years, can leap a mountain using Splash. Gyarados has the greatest increase of its base stat total of any Pokemon compared to its pre-evolution. Lapras has the highest base HP of all ice types. Ditto has the same cry as Poliwag. Eevee's evolutionary family has the most evolutionary relatives out of any other Pokemon. Vaporeon is the only evolution that does not share any weakness with another. Jolteon is the lightest evolution. Flareon is the only fully evolved fire-type Pokemon that cannot learn Solar Beam. Porygon is the only Pokemon that evolves by trade twice. Ammonites are resurrected from Helix fossils. Omastar first appeared in episode 46, Attack of the Prehistoric Pokemon. Kabuto in its evolved form are the only non-steel type Pokemon able to learn Metal Sound via leveling up. Kabutop's scientific name is Kabutops maximus. It is one of two Pokemon to have a scientific name, the other being Oddish. Aerodactyl is the fastest rock-type Pokemon with a base speed of 130. Snorlax is the heaviest Pokemon that has a gender and the heaviest normal-type Pokemon. Articuno is the only Pokemon that did not appear in Season 1. Zapdos and Jolteon have very similar names in Japanese. Zapdos is Sanda, Thunder, while Jolteon is Sandas, Thunders. Moltres is the only fire-type Pokemon to learn Solar Beam by level up. Dratini is the lightest Dragon-type Pokemon. Dragonair was originally named Dragon. Dragonite are very rare in the wild. Mewtwo is a clone of the Pokemon Mew, yet it comes before Mew in the Pokédex. Mew was a little known secret when Pokemon Red and Green were first released in Japan. Even Nintendo was not initially aware that Mew was programmed into the game.